coming up on today's show?
So
Yeah.
from gospel to soul, R&B, and then rap became to be a thing in kind of like the early 90s for me. As far as rap goes, I'm like, okay, I love Jadakiss, I love Nas, I love Tupac. You want to become yourself and you kind of don't
Right.
want to sound like
Ooh,
someone else. And so you want that freedom where you just don't want to be attached. And I've heard someone say before that rap is an acronym that stands for rhythm and poetry. I put the lyrics like clay, and then I just start chipping away of the boundary of the music to make sure that it complements and it flows with the music.
Hi there, I'm April Paige, breaking down the what, when, where, and how creatives get their inspiration. I'm a big fan of the cursey words, and I've been a creative for 30 plus years in marketing and fine art. This is where creatives unite to break down the facts of creative life. Buckle up, let's get lost in the world of creativity together.
welcome everyone to Artist Antics with April, where we talk to creatives about creativity. And today I'm excited to sit down with Justincredible. He's an artist, author, and a program director. I'm so honored to have you here today. Thanks for coming.
Good morning, April. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no, I'd love for everyone to hear a little bit about what you do in art and as an author and as a program director. If you could just touch on those few things before we get started, I'd love to have a background for everyone to hear. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm born and raised Florida, originally from South Florida. And so Florida boy and Florida man. Okay, born and raised here in Florida. We're a little bit of crazy, a lot of bit of crazy, depending on the day, depending on the weather.
Yes.
So, um, so I originally gravitated towards music and acting, and got into creative writing. And so you're talking, doing talent shows in elementary and high school, and doing drama in the plays and a little bit of plays and a little bit of writing, and started getting to rap battles in high school. Found out that I had a gifting, and started winning contests late in high school. Started winning contests in college when I went to UCF, and just really solidified that I had like a real gift
Mm.
as far as creativity, as far as music, and as far as just expressing myself and communicating. Got into a lot of social work um, uh, after graduation at UCF. My degrees in psychology. So, and then I linked up with a poetry troupe called Amped Poets, and so that
Mm.
was like 8 years. We were writing in Florida, but we were traveling. We went to Houston. We've been flown out to Atlanta, and that they really took my imagery to another level. Got exposed to uh, a lot of different artists and a lot of different great writers like the Strivers Row, and then started getting into uh, spoken word poetry slams, and that opened my eyes to a whole bunch of other things. And I just started to write down my experiences. Like it just started to pour out whatever's in me, and then I started to add a little bit of that creative arts mentorship with the social work that I've done before in the psychology. And I've been in education for about 7 years off and on. So I just combined education, mentorship, and creativity all in a pot. And that's kind of what I do.
That's awesome. Wow. It's so amazing that all that came together and just goes to show that, and I talk about this a lot on the channel, is that we all have something to bring very special to the table that is a, you know, amalgamation of all of what we've gone through and what we're showing and the way we're expressing ourselves. So thank you for that. I'd love to start with everyone on what started you with your creative drive when you were young. I'd love to hear these stories about the people that kind of molded your life. I know where mine came from as a young child, and it grew from there. I had mentors over the years that were outside of my friends and family as well, but I just love to hear that spark. Like, where did that creative spark come from? Do you remember when exactly it was? And, what was that like for you?
Um, I'd say, as far as music goes, my parents, they raised me on like Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, Sade, Whitney Houston, Anita Baker. Like that's all on repeat, just like my whole life. So
Yep.
from gospel to soul, R&B, and then rap became to be a thing in kind of like the early 90s for me. So those were early influences, those genres in general. As far as starting off to write in poetry, I didn't even think that I was going to get into music like that. I liked music, but I didn't think I was going to get into it as far as creating it and to
Mm.
write it. But in 10th grade, I just started to write, just kind of journalize my thoughts and, you know, your typical teenager stuff in America, you know, American problems, nothing too crazy. Oh, my
Yeah.
parents getting on my nerves. Ah, they got me on this curfew. Oh, this girl broke over me. I want her back. I love her. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
You know the general teenage American stuff.
Yep.
So, and I started to share it with one of my history teachers, and she was like, "This is actually kind of good." And I put some rhymes in them and started sharing them with a student here, sharing them with a student there, and they were like, "Oh, that's pretty good. Keep writing." Like, I don't know. Are you guys just gassing me up? You guys just,
Right.
you guys just puffing my head up. But then there was a rap group in high school because I tried to do sports and I was pretty good. I did have some determination, but the height, there's just a certain level, you know, when you start playing on varsity, there's just a certain level. You're talking college, D1, and and pros. I just didn't see myself doing it. I gave up the dream, but I
Yep.
said, who else is cool on campus? And I saw a whole bunch of rappers on campus, and they had a lot of respect. They had a lot of pride. They found, you know, they got a voice in themselves. They found some confidence, you know,
Yep.
and they had lots of swagger. And I was like, I could do that. I'm smart. I could do that. I could put this stuff together. So I started patterning myself with them. I don't know if you're familiar with Wild 'N Out, the show by Nick Cannon.
Nope.
It's like an
I've
improv.
heard
Okay,
of it, but I haven't seen it. Yes.
yeah, on MTV. But one of the crew members there, we went to the same middle school, same high school. We used to write and record in the same garage, and I just think
Very
you start off kind of wanting to fit in as an artist. You find people, you're like, okay, these are people that I enjoy as far as rap goes. I'm like, okay, I love Jadakiss, I love Nas, I love Tupac. You know, I love Eminem. You find yourself trying to emulate them, and then after a while, you want to become yourself, and you kind of don't
right.
want to sound like
Ooh,
someone else. And so you want that freedom where you just don't want to be attached. You just at first it's admiration when someone says, "Oh, you sound like such and such." It's like, "Oh, that's so great. That's so great."
yeah.
But after a while, it's like, "Okay, I want to be like me. I want to be my
Yeah.
because my story is unique and it's different from that person."
Ooh,
No
you're
disrespect,
hit
no shade, no disrespect.
yeah, yeah. No, you're hitting a chord with me.
Yeah,
So, that authenticity is so important, and that's really what I think you're talking about is, for me, for example, in art school, I had to mimic all the, Renaissance painters and all the, people that were quote unquote the best, right? And you get good at it, just like you're saying, but then something in you wants to break out and have its own voice. That's what I feel that it felt like for me. And what I'm doing now is exactly what you're saying. I'm taking two artists that I love and I'm kind of mashing it up with my flavor on it, and so I'm trying to bring in these 2 elements that I like what they're doing, trying to figure out those elements separately, and then I'm gonna bring them all together with me in the middle and, see what happens. So I'm still trying to get my hands around how they are doing it. I'm just doing it my way because I obviously don't know their process, but trying to mimic some of what they're doing, some of the elements of what they're doing.
I
And
love
then
it.
yeah, it's the biggest form of flattery, I think. And but to go back to what we said in the beginning, it's like everybody can create, everybody has a voice. And somebody coming behind me that is an artist that matches these two same artists together and puts their flavor on it is going to be different than what I'm doing now. So I feel like there's room for everybody. And I really, wish that people who think that, and that's kind of why I started this channel, is people that think they can't do it, that hear from us who are doing it. And, we all have day jobs, most of us, and how we're doing it and what it helps you to do, in your life and fulfillment. So I think that's awesome. My next question from what you said is, you know, being a poet is part of the what I don't think people realize is part of what rap is. And it's just a different form of poetry. I don't know if you agree with that, but um I've talked with singer-songwriters on the show that talk about, they didn't realize how, because we have so much information now, we can kind of see behind the processes. They even have a songwriting show now. I forget what it's called, but they have songwriters on there to just show their songs. But I really feel like it's um songwriting is a art in and of itself, and it's poetry in my mind. And um you know I've had other guests come on and say it's hard to do sometimes when you think it's supposed to just be flowing out of you. And some of them say, it's harder for them, and some songs come, from out of the ethers and are just delivered to them in full form. I just I'm curious to hear about your writing process. What does that look like? Like, do you get an idea and then you flesh it out? Or, I don't want to assume what it is, your process is, but I'd love to hear that. I'd love the audience to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. I do agree when you said that rap and music is poetic. It has poetry in it. And I've heard someone say before that rap is an acronym that stands for rhythm and poetry.
Oh,
So I think that it's the same thing. Is you're the only difference is that you are confining yourself to an actual rhythm. And then if you want to put rhymes in it, if you want to make sure that everything rhymes, you
right.
can, but you still don't even have to. There's some people who do as far as rap, and people who do songwriting as far as R&B or folk or what have you, or country music, that they don't rhyme every single line. Like Stevie Nicks, I love Stevie Nicks,
Yeah.
but she doesn't rhyme every single time. But her flows is just so poetic. What she's writing about, it's the imagery. It's the
Mm,
imagery and telling of a story. It's expressing your feelings, expressing your thoughts, expressing any type of ideas, giving a message, and just kind of giving a feeling. That's the most
mm.
poetic thing that you can do. And I have a motto. It's not mine. I don't know where the hell I got it from, but art imitating life. That's like the theme of everything that I do.
Yeah.
And I believe that, going back to what you were talking about, I'm gonna get to the question, I promise.
No, it's
But
good. This is good. This is
all
good.
right, nice. So what we were saying before is like, hey, you want to emulate someone, you want to start off um almost like some mentors of the great. You follow the greats. Who do you think is the best at doing this? You want to kind of format yourself a little bit like them. You take some notes from them. I'll say, take some notes from them, take
Yes,
some guidance from them. You walk on their path a little bit, and then you begin to eventually blaze your own path.
that's right.
And so you become your own person, and then sometimes people will use you as a reference. But whatever hits you, I think the thing that makes art beautiful is that, in whatever art form modality that you're using, is that if you do it right, in my opinion, is when you keep it as authentic to real life as possible, because life is the most poetic thing. Whether it's your personal life, other people's lives, um, if you put your own personal experience in it, then it's unique. No one can copy your actual life, because no one has the same exact story. You get two people who are 40 years old, they don't have the same story.
That's
30
right.
years old don't have the same story. 20 years old don't have the same story. So if you put your unique story in it, boom, that sets you apart from everyone else, number one. And then, even if you want to take it further, people that are in contact with people that you are in contact with, you can start telling their stories and seeing things through their eyes. And other cultures and other countries, other things that's just going on in the world outside of your own little bubble, you can express your thoughts and your feelings on that, on
Mm,
those issues, on those topics. That's what makes it unique. And you can never be a cookie cutter. I think it gets wrong when everyone is saying the same thing, talking about the same exact subject in the same exact way, using the same freaking words. That's when it gets boring. And I
right.
think that's when the genre starts getting stale and people are just like, okay, I'm just going to the next. I need to find something, whatever. So back to the original question. Uh, you said, what is my writing process?
Yes.
At first, it started off just me just writing down feelings, writing down random thoughts. I would say um, at first I used to listen to songs or listen to things that inspired me. I would write about that. Sometimes I would just write in silence, just getting my actual heart out on paper, and then I'll find some music that that will accompany it, and then I take my lyrics like I say this all the time. I put the lyrics like clay, and then I just start chipping away of the boundary of the music to make sure that it complements and it flows with the music. I do that
Okay.
sometimes in poetry as well. If you're doing slam, spoken word slam performance poetry, you have a
Yep.
time limit. So you can't tell the whole essence of
Right.
love and
Right.
religion. You can't put all religions in one thing. So you got to cut it off at some point. There's highs, there's lows, there's intros, there's outros, there are some type of flows, alliteration, all that stuff. Um, but I think that how I primarily like to do is gather all my thoughts, put it in one place, and then whatever format I'm doing, whether this is going to be a poem, whether this is going to be a song, or whether this is going to be in a book, I'll start chiseling from there. Most people will call that editing.
Yeah.
But I just strip away the inessentials, as Bruce Lee says. I strip away the
Yep.
inessentials until you get to the real heart of what it is. That's
Yeah.
how I
No,
normally
that's
do it. What I would like to do moving forward is kind of challenge myself to like box myself in certain scenarios. Okay, or this year, all I'm going to do is write about stories. All I'm
right.
doing is storytelling. Or all this year, I'm just experimenting with flows. But always keeping it. You have your own personal things, and then give yourself some challenges and try to grow in areas that you feel like that you can improve in. As an artist, I think that's always great.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So many things there with the chipping away of the clay. I mean, it's true of any art form, I think that, you come in and at least I do that very similar thing. I have an idea and then I think about all the ways I can execute this idea. And then I start editing from there, like, what is the real authentic, what is my thought calling for, not necessarily the other way around. So um I can really relate with that. And I think that's awesome. So when you are in that state of creating, like, I ask everybody this question, on the channel, like, do you have a process of, specific times of the week that you create? Is it um, methodical, time that you come in and say, okay, at 2 o'clock on Saturdays, I, write for 2 hours, or do you do it as you can? I'd like to hear that. Yeah.
Both.
Okay.
I would like. I just recently lost my mom in December,
Oh, no. So
2 weeks
sorry.
before Christmas. So before that, me and a buddy of mine, we would hop on like Google Zoom meetings, and we would on Saturdays, just like you said, we'll just say 2 hours, and we'll do it, and we'll have it like monthly. It's like we just go in all distractions for accountability purposes. That's the methodical route. Outside of those things, I'm kind of getting back to that. I haven't done that in a while. I'm still trying to process and
Yeah.
get into my groove again.
Yep.
And I'd say outside of the methodical, I think it is important to have like a regular time, whether it's once a week or once a month, that you really sit down and you force yourself, you have scheduled time. And then the inspiration flows, inspiration and ideas come and go daily, depending on,
Yeah.
social media, that there's a lot of inspirational posts and quotes and things like that. Um, and then what I've been doing recently to help me organize my thoughts is because I write on different topics, and I'd say probably about 10 topics consistently. You're talking love, God, religion. I write about politics, family, personal relationships. I talk about um, the just being an artist. I talk
Yeah.
about social things that are going on, just world news. I write about, and just sometimes just write about silly stuff and nostalgic things. But constantly, I think as an artist, those are the 10 things that I'm consistently always writing about. So throughout a week, throughout all year long, if I hear something, if I see something, read something, or what have you, that has to deal with love, I will screenshot it, I'll copy and paste, and I'll put it in an actual folder. And I have a folder dang near 30, 40, 50 pages long, full of full of stuff just on that topic. And that helps me organize my thoughts. So when I go to write another song about relationships, another song about politics, another song about religion, God, or spirituality, then it's just easy to pull from. Because again, you can't talk about everything in one song or just
Right.
one poem. So you just make multiple stuff. Some of the greatest artists, they consistently talk about certain things, like an
Yeah.
Eminem, a Tupac, Stevie Nicks. You're talking on the same, some of the same content,
Yeah.
general content.
No, that's awesome. And I'm just so sorry to hear about your mom. I just want to say that. And just briefly say that if anybody needs help out there, um, Justincredible and I have a friend, Monica, who does grief counseling through art, and she has a workshop, and I'll put that in the description as well. I just think, I just want to take a second to say most people have had loss in their lives, and just to be kind to yourself and those around you if they're in any type of loss. It really is important for them to grieve the way they want to and the way they have to and the way that works for them, and that's different for everybody. So I just want to say that, and to give kindness in, grieving can be for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to end in 6 months like people think. You should be over it, and I've had that happen to me too. So I just want to say I'm so sorry for your loss, and we will put that information in the description for everyone to to utilize if they need it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank
Um,
you, April.
yeah,
You definitely given me your condolences even immediately after it happened, even last year. So you've done it several times. So I appreciate it. That now we're just saying it online here, but
yeah, yeah,
behind the scenes you have giving your thoughts and prayers and encouragement. And I appreciate that. And
yeah,
also I went through Monica's
yeah,
Art Through It program. It's a 6-week program. We did it in Ormond Beach, 2-hour sessions for 6 weeks. I just finished up with Monica, and it was an amazing experience. It's about 14 people who showed up, and I learned so much. Just like what I was telling you offline before,
yeah,
that I gained so much understanding um, about what other people are going through. I'm a little hesitant to jump in with my opinions as much when I come about certain topics. I judge people a little bit less. I'm a little bit more quiet. I respect people a whole lot more, and
yeah,
I think, yeah, it really opens your eyes. And if you're an artist and you just enjoy art, if that's like a peaceful thing to you, like I highly recommend Monica Vidal's Art Through It, six
yeah.
week grief group program.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'll definitely share that with everybody. So, I want to move over because I'm really excited to ask you about this question. When you um, I read that you wrapped in the museum in New York. Is that correct? Do I have that right? And
Which the museum was in Daytona.
oh, I'm sorry, in
No, no, no,
Daytona.
no. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
have rapped in New York before for Harlem Week a couple years
Yeah,
before.
I'm confusing them. So,
It's all
yes,
good.
the museum, I was so curious to hear, like, what was that experience? Did you walk through by yourself? Like, was there people roped off and watching, or how did that work? And what were your feelings like as you did it? What happened in that occasion?
Yeah, it almost came about like an art exhibit slash documentary or so, where we just wanted to solidify the hip hop is, contrary to some people's belief and contrary to what certain people would see in the mainstream light on a regular basis, hip hop is a form of art, and it should be respected for the ones who take the art, seriously. And so I just wanted to get that home. Like I wanted to prove that point. So I
Yep.
went into the museum and I saw this art displayed. It's the CC and Hyatt Brown Museum of Arts, and it holds the world's largest Florida themed art in the world,
Mm,
and by either Florida artists or artists who came down to Florida to paint, or artists who were inspired by Florida while they were painting. And
mhm.
so I was there in Daytona. I don't live too far from there. And I said, you know what? Let's just do an art display. I write on a bunch of topics. So I said, how about 12 different topics? Let's go to 12 different rooms or 12 different areas within this museum. We have someone hold up that sign, people from different cultures, different genders holding up signs um, with the different topics, and we're standing side by side in between a piece of art that is themed up with that topic, and I just go off anywhere between a minute to 3 minutes on that topic, with the poetry, with the raps, all of that creative writing. So we did that. We shot that in one day. We shot that in, I think, like less than 8 hours total. We had tripod set up. This is during a
Still
normal day.
looking.
A
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
day. Yeah, so some people were kind of like, oh, okay,
Oh.
Um,
They didn't know what was
so
happening. Yeah.
yeah, mic'd up. It was a great experience. I just thank God that Tori Carter, at the time, she was in charge. I sent that email. It was one of those dream emails that you sent. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, send, 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 send. You send it late at night. You're like, they're not gonna hit me back. They're not gonna hit me back. They freaking hit me back 2, 3 days, and she's like, "That's a great idea. Come on through. Come on through." I said, "Hey, look, I want to do this art exhibit about hip hop and poetry, kind of a blend, a mix. This is what I'm doing. It's all clean. It's nothing, harassing or
Right.
it's no hate speech or anything like that."
Yep.
She said, "Come on." Introduce myself. I had my camera guy, Carlos, and Malcolm, and these guys just lit it up, man. It was amazing.
That's awesome, and
One day.
love to hear that. That's, great story. I really appreciate that whoever it is that is, giving you the okay to come, that is realizing, it's a great way to modernize what they're doing, because museums like that can be old and dusty and people don't want to go. But if you're making it new and interesting and bringing an artist in to, talk to some of it, I mean, how interesting, it can't get more interesting than that. So I just think it's just a good idea for more museums to do that if anybody's listening. So,
Oh yeah, I've already sent you emails too. The museums in New York, and overseas, I've already sent the emails. I've already sent the emails. Now the next phase is making follow up calls. I've already sent the emails.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already are doing it. So that's great. That's a great creation story, but I always ask this question, do you have a favorite story to date that you'd like to share with us, whether it's writing or working, collabing with someone else? It could be inspiring or funny or, just yeah, whatever. I'm sure you have a lot. So I'm just curious if anything comes to mind. I'd like to hear the behind the scenes stuff.
Okay. More recently, I performed at the Dr. Phillips Center for Performing Arts in downtown Orlando, and that's like the premier, performing arts center. Hamilton and all of them boys come through.
Yeah.
Um, I opened up. We did this. I was invited by the city of Orlando's poet laureate, Sean Welcome. That's my big brother. That's my mentor in this whole art poetry game. He invited me to open up for K Love the poet. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but K Love the poet is from Chicago, and she is a nationally and internationally um, phenomenon. She's
Yeah.
amazing, amazing writer, powerful performer, poet, writer, activist, all of that, and kind of almost similar lanes. Almost similar lanes. Next generation, pouring into the next generation, artistic mentorship, etc. And that was an amazing show. It was a sold out show, and it was just for Black History Month. It was titled "Voices of Freedom," so it was almost an Unreal type situation. I had to hire a videographer. I'm like, dude, you better back here when I'm eating my chips. I need you recording, man. I need you. I'm
Yeah.
brushing my teeth. I need you recording everything,
Yeah.
man. Everything. It was hype. It was hype. It was almost an out of body experience, but it was a great
Awesome.
performance. I love the crowd.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's really great. Yeah, there are those moments because I sing in jam bands as well, and there's just some moments that you remember that are really heartfelt and memorable, in powerful ways, sometimes, moving ways, sometimes funny ways. It just depends on what it is. But um so, what inspires you? I hear all these beautiful things from you about, being a poet and a rapper and an artist and an author and a program director. I'm just wondering, like, right now, if I had to take a snapshot, what is inspiring you right now? And I know that's a hard question. It's hard for me to answer that because I have so many influences, but I'm just curious, like, you can go anywhere with it that you want, just love to hear that, yeah.
Okay. What inspires me? I'm inspired and motivated to clean up my house right now.
Me too, right after this, actually.
Yeah, right. Same here. Same here. I'm motivated and inspired to clean up my house. I'm motivated to just coming off of like the holidays. I'm trying to get back to
Yeah,
trying to get
normal
back to
life.
some type of normalcy. Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what inspires me? My faith has been recently inspiring me because there's just kind of almost no way that I feel like I could be where I'm at right now without um, without the help of God, without the grace of God. I just don't think that there's just any way. I'm just thankful just for health. I'm inspired that that I have been given gifts and talents, and not just it's not for me to just say, oh wow, I'm cool. Like I'm use I feel honored that I can use my talents to do certain things to affect change with people, to encourage someone, to connect with somebody in some type of way, or inspire a next generation, just to even just open your mouth and use your voice, communicate what's going on with you. Don't bottle it in your frustrations and get into trouble. If you want to say something outlandish, if you're pissed off with the world, go write it down, go perform it. You go in the studio and cuss up a storm. Go ahead and do that thing. Do that. I'd rather you do that and put that pain, put that anger, put that frustration in something that you can turn into something beautiful, something constructive, something that just won't put you in a jail cell.
Yeah.
won't put you in a frustrating, compromising situation where you're just regretting for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I'm in a place where I'm just acknowledging that I do have some power and I'm using this thing for good. And with the current job that my 9 to 5,
Yeah.
I work for a place. It's called Promising People. It's education and career vocational certifications, and a lot of the heart of what they do is they work with people who have been justice impacted, and so from going into the prisons and educating and getting certifications, or when people get out of jail, they will help them, help them through
Reactivate.
course. Yeah, help them through courses, help them either get a high school diploma if they still haven't earned that before. If they're below that level, help them with an adult phonics program, help them take courses that are in, whether it's a medical field, veterinary field, whether it's in construction trades, take them through courses, get certifications so they can, have something on their resume to get work and create an honest living moving forward, so they can be productive and self-sufficient, and work their way up. Not just, it's not just a job, but they're putting people in career fields and they're
Right.
getting people nationally recognized career industry certifications. I say that to say that that job on a regular basis, Monday through Friday, is extremely fulfilling for me, and it
Mm,
aligns with a lot of things. But what the best part about it is that my supervisors are, um, they are so open to giving me the freedom to use whatever lengths of creativity. So I just recently wrote something for a gala that they had. It's about, it's entitled "The Product of a Second Chance." So for a couple months now, I've been doing research. I've been talking to people who have been in prison for years. What are their thoughts while they were in prison? What are their thoughts when they got out, trying to make something of their lives? What are the regrets? What is the guilt? What's the shame? I've been listening to podcasts and
yeah.
watching 60 Days In on A&E. I've been
Yeah.
all types of documentaries on
Immersed.
prison life
Yeah.
and that turnaround lifestyle. And I just recently wrote something. They put it together with some visuals, with the digital team, and so they're trying to release this on a national level.
Oh, that's
And even though that's fine and dandy, when we played it at the gala, there were certain people who came up and they thought that it was actually my story. That's how it was. And so many people were like, you talking from pastors to legislators, program directors, they were nonprofits. They were like, they were wild. And they're like, this is going to
yeah.
help so many people and encourage so many people who feel hopeless and
Yeah.
feel like they don't matter to go out and do something and just be proud.
Well, there's so many things there. I just wanna thank you for your service, first of all, and, it, makes me emotional. Is that service available or that program available in all states or just certain states?
Yes, yes, they've ran pilots in, it's technically it's national, and
Okay,
international. It's they went into prisons in the U.S. Virgin Islands. They ran a pilot there. They ran a pilot in Cibola, New Mexico, and
okay,
I currently work at the Fern Park office in the Orlando area,
okay.
basically, in
So
Central
I'll
Florida
put
area.
some, website information there for people to, be able to use that if they need it. So thank you for that. That's an incredible, just incredible story.
Yeah,
And, I think it's our job as creatives, as artists to bring hope to the world. That's really my feeling is we're trying to show people the way, the light, the way to go, the path to be on, and I think it's just a beautiful thing, so thank you for that. I'm gonna pivot a little and just ask you about AI. So, I ask everybody this question, and I get, a different answer from every person. Just curious what you think of AI, as far as using it in creativity and, what your thoughts overall are there. And yeah, I'm happy to share mine, but I'd love to hear what you think.
I think AI could help us as creatives organize our thoughts a little bit more, um, document some things a little bit better. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
it could be a heavy assistant in producing more content
That's right.
rapidly. However, there is some type of there's a sense of accomplishment when you do something like on your
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Um, Coming from education and working in the school system for so long, um, man, if it wasn't for AI, some people wouldn't even have their degrees. I'll say that. Some
Oh,
people would not
interesting.
have their master's degree
I
right
never
here,
even thought
right
of it
now.
that way.
I've
Wow.
had adults, I've had people older than me tell me this to my face saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, my whole master's degree. Oh yeah, yeah, I just just AI that thing, chat GPT that thing." And that's scary to me because hopefully you're not,
Yeah. Well, it depends on
in
the
a critical
person,
field.
and yeah, we have to have some integrity, and that's the problem is, I worry about some of us policing ourselves and some of us not, but there's going to be a dark AI, I think, just like there's a dark web. I just think that's inevitable. If it's probably already been in place, but
Mhm.
I agree with you. Like, I talk about it like, the TV got replaced, or the radio got replaced with TV, and
TV.
mail with internet, email, and so on and so forth. Now we're streaming, we don't have cable anymore, and there's going to be shifts. There's going to be what I call paradigm shifts that happen through our lifetimes. And I think this is one of them. I think AI is like an infant. We don't know what it's going to be yet. And it's still training itself, so to speak. But, I don't think it's going to get rid of any human, need in our near future anyway. I think it's just not good enough yet for that. The things I use it for, I never use it as is. I always customize it, for emails or even press releases or whatever. I don't use it verbatim. I always take it and then make it my own and put my own spin on it and add my own flavor to whatever it is it wrote. So I agree with you. It makes you more efficient. As a senior marketer in my day job, I mean, it's worth its weight in gold to me because I don't have to start from scratch. But to your point, I take that and then I customize it to whatever it is I'm trying to do, because it never comes out exactly the way you want anyway. So, I think of it as a tool. I think, in the business realm, um, it's obvious to me, if you're not using AI, that
Oh yeah.
you're going to be left behind because you're just not going to be as efficient. But on the creative front, it brings me some kind of, knee jerk reaction on the creative front, because I'm just like, no, I don't want creativity coming from a machine. Now, as long as something, and I in my feeds right now, I have AI, people who post AI art all the time, and I, find it interesting, if in anything, with the titles that they put on them. But I as long as it's noted that what you're buying is an AI piece or an AI digital, art, then I am okay with that. Uh, because I don't think that I think there will always be a need for handmade human, things like songs, like paintings, whatever it is, uh,
Yeah.
that 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 AI system can't pull in, all the things that you've learned about human life and all the areas that you write about. It's never gonna weave all of those things together and make some kind of exclamation about, what it is you're talking about. It's never going to be able to do that because it's not human. So um, is it good? Yes. Do I fear that it's going to be misused? Yes. But, we don't know what that is yet. And creatively, I just think creatives should be authentic and police themselves with integrity to create original piece. But yeah, anyway,
I agree. No,
no.
I agree 100%. I think that there's gonna be that wave. It's gonna be like, okay, wow, it's gonna be that fast food. As far
Yes.
as creativity, it's gonna be that fast food, McDonald's, McDonald's,
Yep.
Starbucks, whatever it is, type of, print them out, ship them out. But I think that there's going to be more value to an actual live show with a live person. It's going to
That's
be
right.
more value to when you see a real poet on stage really talking about politics, really, really, really talking about stuff that's going on. That stuff is, again, it's priceless. It's something that you can't manufacture. You can't manufacture a human being on stage like delivering their heart. Like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Again, with art too, is like that's why these Picassos, these Van Goghs, these Basquiat paintings, these things, they're worth so much is because someone actually put their hands to that.
Yeah.
It didn't take them 5 minutes to just come up with a template
Mm.
online. So I think that there's going to be some value in business wise, just like you said, and convenience for other people. But I think that there is going to be a higher value on something. It's just like gold. It's
Yes. Yes, it's the
like it's like the
human.
gold standard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can print as much money as you want to, bruh,
That's
but they're not printing out any more gold. You can't do
right.
that. So
Right. It's the
yeah,
human touch. It's the human touch, and that can't be mimicked in my mind, not from a machine. So, those beautiful things that come out of being human, have to come out in all those creative ways, and I think, I think there'll be something after AI, there'll be another
mm,
shift, this is just another shift that we're going through. There'll be something after AI, whether it's in our lifetime or not, who knows? But I know that to be true, that it will continue to evolve and we have no idea where that's headed and how that will look. What I hope it looks like is that artists become more valuable, creatives become more valuable because
same.
we've been on the fringe for a long time as, nice to haves. And that's a, great dream of yours, but, back to reality. And I think of it differently. I think of it as, it's a real job. It's a real thing. It's a real voice and authenticity that we're bringing into the world. We're actually birthing these things into the world through us. So I just hope that that's what it brings, more value to the things that should be valued. But I'm not naive either. So we'll see is what I say. And maybe you and I'll have another conversation in 10 years and be like, remember that talk we had?
Hopefully, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a good looking back conversation, and not a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I know that you kept on saying that the value of an artist and versus AI and just the need for it. There's always that human touch and why do we do things and why are artists so essential? You see these Ethan Hawke interviews with screenwriting in LA, IG Page, where he's talking about like you need artists during funerals, during weddings, during graduations. You need artists during those celebratory times, those highs and lows of life, those in betweens of life. That puts the flavor in life. If not, everything
Mm,
is just kind of a robotic, mundane Monday through Friday. You know, whatever. There's some type of experience in there. I wanted to say something before we leave. If it's
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's called My Artistic Job Description. My Artistic Job Description. This is something that I did perform at Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, downtown Orlando.
Yeah.
I do this for mothers who can't reach their daughters, for young men who still hate their fathers, for those in treatment, barely making progress, feeling like a hot mess, still struggling, submitting to the process. When my pen's moving, it's a movement. My poetry is low-key prophetic for the next revolution. Public school books like to delude us. Politicians lie and rebuke us. AI is still trying to compute us. Corporations like to misuse and abuse us. Event promoters want to recoup, but oftentimes feed us excuses. But we're the motivational speakers in your speakers. Surrogate parents in the bleachers, therapists, preachers, teachers, brain surgeons on most days, and some of y'all still don't even want to pay the copay. Okay, this artist heaven sent medication, facilitating your elevation. It's self-discovery education. We're human mutants, level 5 X-Men. To be elite, our work has to be internationally critiqued. Recordings of our stutters, stumbles, and fumbles on repeat. We're here to shock you, move you out of your seat, lift you up and on your feet, fighting for freedom and justice beyond our reach. Preaching a little country towns, suburbs, and streets. Most people fear public speech, but believe talk is cheap. This is for those rapping for a paycheck that haven't got paid yet, waiting on their time to shine but didn't get that big break yet. This right here is for the poets who retired, had their hearts broken by liars, who had children or were called to something higher. This right here is for the real ones who need another push. Catch their breath, get some rest, take some time to recultivate their best. This is dedicated to the artists who took their own lives. No note, without telling us why. Dealing with depression, oppressed by spirits tortured inside. You can see it in their face. You can feel it through their eyes. For some, fighting homelessness and hopelessness. After showing the world so much beauty, I know that's sick. After what y'all done for me off GP, I owe y'all this. I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment the essence of this creative covenant. To never change on the ones who put me on the game. Like close family, word to my name, I treat them all the same. The ones who taught me this craft, guided me through my path. No hesitation. Any request you don't even have to ask. I pledge my allegiance and I take the oath. A healthy lifestyle is what I promote. I'm on my post. I will do no harm. Staying true to this call and true to this art. Executing my job, doing my part. Ain't trying to play God. Never deciding to be on the side of silence. No co-signing injustice from tyrants. Staying sober-minded so I can function. Won't succumb to corruption or destruction. Live by the code, not by the wave. Respect for my bros, taking secrets to the grave. May we be living legends. Attack the mic with no fear. Give it our all. Earn the respect of our peers. Use this power for good and pray that it connects. Never see the end of the ripple effects. May we forever prosper. Feel the joy of life without strife. And if we renege, may the reverse be our plight. This is my artistic job description. That's it.
Woo! Boy, you brought me to tears. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
I am very moved.
No AI, by the way. That's not AI. That was me. That was me.
That was all you. I can't believe how much of what we talked about was in there. So thank you for that. I'm sure that's what made you think of doing that one. So I appreciate that. Wow. I hope that we can all live by that for sure. I'm being called, I know, to expand and do more than I'm comfortable with. So that just really hit home for me today. So thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. I am 2 minutes over. I'm going to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for all your time today. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I will put all the information for Justincredible into the description on how to get a hold of him and his sites and some of his videos. And then the organizations we've spoken about today, I'll put that in there too. Yeah, very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, April.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Feel free to nominate yourself or someone you know as our next guest. Thank you for being a part of our creative community. Stay inspired and keep shining bright.